Yesterday in the UK, there was a big announcement by the NHS that they are going to start providing this new wonder weight loss drug on the NHS. In this video, I am going to give you, if you continue to listen, the 3 things or 5 things or however many it'll be when I've finished. And I will tell you exactly why, if you are struggling with your weight, why you are struggling with your weight. I have more form than anybody I've ever met in this area. And believe me, I know so much about this. Being brought up by a mother that was obsessed with weight and that was obsessed with weight loss and tried every fad diet that there was. I grew up with a really dysfunctional relationship with money. I did grow up with a dysfunctional relationship with money. And I also grew up with a really dysfunctional relationship with food. Massively dysfunctional relationship with food. Because food was a necessity to my mom. And my husband says sometimes now that I don't cook with love. I love cooking vegan and vegetarian food with love, but I don't really like cooking meat with love because I don't eat it. And also because when I was learning how to cook when I was a teenager, I didn't eat it. Anyway, I digress. So, why did I feel I had to come and say this today? Because weight loss injury is like a multi-billion-dollar, pound, whatever currency you want to talk about it in. It's massive. And the majority of the mainstream weight loss things out there are fundamentally flawed. And this is your first tip. Because let me tell you something, if you didn't already realise this. Food is an emotional thing. And your issue with weight, if you have one, is absolutely nothing to do with the food that you are eating. It is everything to do with the emotional association that you have with it. And I am living proof of that. Now, I'm not the skinniest person in the world. I couldn't tell you how much I weigh because I binned the sad step a very long time ago. I work on measurements, I work on how I feel, and I work on how my clothes fit. I got a little bit of a podgy belly, but on the whole, I'm in really great shape. I'm 47 years old. I feel amazing. I regularly exercise and, you know, we can all come up with the excuses that we don't have time for that. But you make it fit in your life. I have a 7-year-old. I have a husband that works away like all the time and gives me usually like a mammoth's notice that he's not going to be here. And I still manage to work out 4 days a week at least. And I do it from home because, you know what? Going to the gym isn't an option in my life anymore. So I do what works for me. The second thing I'm going to tell you about weight, as well as emotion, is eating the kind of foods that your body likes and digestion. Now, in the company that I'm part of, Rise and Shine, one of the conversations that we have a lot is about poo. Because we don't like to talk about poo, do we? You know, it's one of those things, it's a little bit like sex. Oh, it's the taboo subject. We can't talk about it. Everybody knows everybody's doing it because otherwise the population wouldn't keep growing, but we don't talk about it. Well, we don't talk about poo. Your poo and your gut is the underlie of all of your health. And actually, if your bowel is functioning really well, and if you are putting in digestive enzymes, because most people don't take digestive enzymes every single day, and most people are totally insufficient in those and need them, then the chances are you're probably storing more fat in your body than you need to because of the way that you're eating. And so understanding all of this and knowing all these things, which I bet if you've ever been to Weight Watchers or Slimming World or any of those fads or keto or all that jazz, they didn't tell you about this. So digesting food properly is absolutely key. Cleaning your bowel properly is absolutely key. So I do an enema at least once every single month at home, at least once. And you know what? It makes me feel so much better once it's been cleared out. Because, you know, with all the will in the world, I have a poo like 2 or 3 times a day. I'm being very clear on all of this. And sometimes even I need to have a clear out. Because, you know what? There's a lot going on inside there. And there's lots of pockets for all the food to get stuck in. And you know why it's important for you to clean your bowel? Because when I started on that bowel cleaning journey many years ago, and I had my first colonic, the woman that did it said to me, she said, think about it like this. It's like not having a wash for like 30 odd years. Now, some people will claim that you don't need to detox and you don't need to clean your bowel and all that. Bullshit. You feel so much better when you do. And believe me, the first time I had a colonic, and I've always been regular when it comes to the toilet, I could not believe what came out of me. Like, seriously. Now, this might be a bit too graphic for you, but you want the truth about weight and about why you've got an excess of it. And I'm going to tell you it. So I actually timed myself after they'd pumped all the water in, and then I went to the toilet, and I sat on the toilet for 20 minutes, literally. And then I looked at what came out of me, and I was absolutely astounded. I had no idea that shit was all inside of me because I was regular. But it was, and I felt so much better as a result of having it done. And you know, I want to tell you something else. Since I started clearing the metal toxins out of my body a few years ago, guess what? The issues that I had with my skin for years, gone. Because this big organ is linked to everything that's going on inside of you. And if you've got things showing up on the outside, if you're not feeling great, it's your body telling you it's pissed off. So are you listening? Do you know how to talk the language of your body? Because it tells you continually what it's not happy with. It shows up in the ailments that you have, in the diseases you have, in the stuff that you have going on. So the next thing, I touched on this a minute ago, and I'm checking the time on this because I don't want to go on for too long, but I may just keep going on. And if you're watching, great. But the next thing that I want to share with you is food tolerances. So have you actually tested your food tolerances? Because your body can only tolerate so many things. Like, my body does not tolerate dairy. I had sinus issues for years. What was it down to? Dairy. Cut dairy out. No more sinus issues. If I have a bit of dairy, because, you know, I do like cheese and I haven't found a great alternative to it yet, I get sinus issues. Now I know why though. Bingo, boom, connection. There we go. The other thing is, though, when you eat foods that your body doesn't really like, it tells you. So I really like pizza. I really do like pizza, and I like just regular pizza. When I eat pizza, oh my God, can I feel it in my gut within the hour? It's like it's sitting there, this big stodge, like, ugh, right in the middle. Now, I choose to accept that that's how I'm going to feel, and I don't eat it that often. But you know what? I know now that my body doesn't like it. I actually love coconuts. My body doesn't like coconuts. And recently I've been getting indigestion, having cut it out for a really long time. And then I pinpointed it back to when I eat things and I get indigestion. What causes it? Coconut. I also don't have a tolerance to chickpeas, which as a plant-based eater is a tad frustrating because I do really like hummus. But again, everything in moderation. I know that if I eat these things, it's probably going to trigger something in me. But the fact of the matter is, sticking a pill in me or sticking an injection in me or doing something which is not dealing with the emotional side of my weight is never going to change my weight. Because all that's going to happen, like with this wonder drug, is you're going to take it for 2 years and then they say you're going to pile the weight back on again. Well, what's the point of that? I just don't see the point of it. Deal with the underlying emotion. Because again, like I said, when I was growing up as a kid, I was made to eat food that I didn't like because my mum grew up in a really poor home and they didn't have a lot of food. So to her, you know, we should be grateful that we were being fed. And, you know, I do say that oldie but goodie to my daughter that there are children starving and you're not eating your food. But what I don't do is I don't make her eat food that she doesn't like. And you know why? Because it did scar me. Like, I still don't eat green runner beans. They physically make me heave because my dad used to grow them by the bucket load when I was a kid in the garden. And we used to have them every Sunday. And because he grew so many, my mum used to slice them up and bag the buggers and put them in the freezer. So they lasted all year. The smell, I won't even have them in my house because the smell of them is, ah. But all of these things I am telling you are all the reason that if your body is holding excess weight, this is why. Do you drink enough water? Because you know what? It took me a long time to master this, but I can now tell the difference between when I am hungry and when I am thirsty. Hydration is absolutely critical. The first thing I do in the morning before I drink anything is drink half a litre of water. Sometimes I put lemon in it, sometimes I just drink it clean, but I drink half a litre of water. Why do I do that? Well, number one, because you're actually usually dehydrated when you wake up from sleep. And secondly, for your brain to function at its absolute optimum, it needs hydration. So the first thing to do in the morning is drink water. But then are you drinking enough water during the day? And yeah, you can tell me you drink tea and coffee and all these other things. No, drink some nice, clean water. Alkaline water, if you can, because the stuff in the tap is full of crap that's really bad for you, that's going to create more toxicity in your system. And again, do you know what clearing the toxicity out your system does? It helps your body shed weight and keep it off. So I started taking a product about 2 years ago called Clean Slate. And as I say, I'm 47, I'm 48 in November of this year. And you know what? Up until my 31, 32, I could drop weight like a boss. And if I wanted to like shed half a stone, gone, easy, do it. Just sort my food out, cut the crap out, boom, gone. I had a baby when I was 39 and man, did I find it difficult to shed the weight. And it's been one of those kind of ongoing things. I had a section as well. So, you know, that makes it that much harder because you end up with this flat skin and all this jazz and all that kind of thing, which is not particularly wonderful. It's something I've had to learn to embrace. But the fact of the matter is, as my body was getting older, I was finding it more difficult to shed weight. I started taking Clean Slate, started clearing the toxins out of my system and boom, gone. I can shed weight now like I did in my 20s, which again, is like, how clean is your body? I was just literally listening to something where somebody was talking about seeing Dr. Christina Rahm, that created the Root products. And she was talking about like, you know, you change the oil in your car and you get it serviced, and you kind of need to do the same with your body. You need to clear the crap out to make sure that it functions in an optimum way. And this is the thing, isn't it? You know, we've got this crisis with the NHS here in the UK with it being overrun. Nobody's talking about why so many people are ill. Why are we not dealing with the problem? The problem is that people are getting ill. Why are people getting ill? Why aren't we dealing with that? Why are we just dealing with the outcome, as in they're ill and we've got to do this in hospitals and all that jazz? No, I tell you what we've got to do. We've got to teach people about health and wellness. And if you want to know about that and you want help, then come and talk to me and I will share everything that I know with you, because I'm absolutely committed and passionate to helping people get bloody well. There's no need to live an unhealthy life. There is no need for you to be excessively overweight. There is a need, I'm sure, for you to live a long and happy life. And there is a need, I'm sure, for you to live that living and not existing. And what do I mean by that? When you can't function properly and when you can't get out there and do things, you exist. Do you want to be here and exist, or do you want to be here and live? You know, health is a choice. And sometimes it can be hard and sometimes it can be easy. But the reality is that if you really want to change what is going on, and if you really want to be living in the body that you choose, then yeah, it's going to be hard. There's going to be commitment that's required. And there is no quick 2-minute overnight fix. I can share with you some great things that will help your body shed fat a little bit easier. But you got to be committed to this. And also you got to understand, as I started, it is emotional. Your weight issue is linked to your emotions. And the quicker that you take hold of that, grasp it and completely embrace it, the better. Anyway, my lecture and rant is over. And as I say, if you want some help, then reach out. Nobody needs to be stuck in this area. Let's see what we can do. And please share this video, because maybe somebody that has got some serious issues here needs to hear this. And that's for people that are underweight as well. Because again, if you're underweight, it's emotional. Catch you soon.